Senator Ledama, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I consider this House the House of Union, the House of Reason, and with humility, I rise to try and persuade us that this House is guided by nothing but these standing orders. Mr. Speaker, the minority side, with all its definitions which are prescribed in the standing orders. If you go to standing orders number 2, which define what a parliamentary party is, and I'll read it with your permission, Mr. Speaker. It says a parliamentary party means a party or a coalition of parties consisting of not less than 10 senators. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to beseech you to consider the communication that you received from the minority leader following the standing orders, standing order number 23, and particularly standing order number 23.6, where it says, and I will repeat, it says, upon a decision being made by a minority party under the standing order, a decision of the party shall be communicated to the Speaker in writing, together with minutes of the meeting at which the decision was made. And in this case, the decision was affecting the minority whip. And the standing orders provide for a procedure to be followed. It says that in case of a removal of a Senate minority whip or a Deputy Senate minority whip by the Senate minority leader. Mr. Speaker, my colleague, the minority leader, has communicated, and sometimes communication is something which is a privilege that some of us are all given. We have different ways of communicating. We are just coming back from a PG with our party leader, and the same information has been communicated. Mr. Speaker, I know you sit there, and sometimes you don't see. You know, a very good point in case was yesterday, when you could not be able to see what was going on until it was pointed out by some of us. So today, Mr. Speaker, the minority side has communicated to you. It will be prudent for you to communicate to us, because the minority leader has advised us, and whose advice we believe to be true, that yesterday at the House business, he submitted the communication. And he had actually even pleaded with the majority side to allow, to hold their changes that I think have taken effect already or will be taking effect today, to a point when the minority side will also be submitting their changes. So when we came back and we approached the chair to try to find out whether the communication was done, we realized that it has not been done. So I want to request you, Mr. Speaker, to take into effect the communication given by the minority side as per the standing order. And if you want us to give you time, it will be you, Mr. Speaker, because you're the one who sits in that desk, we sit on this side, to advise us on when we can expect the communication, so that when we go back to our PG, we can be able then to be able to communicate. I do not have a problem with my colleagues from the other side of the aisle weighing into this matter. The history given by my colleague is important. But I think that history also guided the amendments of these standing orders. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to rest my case there and request that you consider the argument made by my brother, the minority leader, to effect the changes as per the wishes of the minority party. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Abdul, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will not purport to know what the standing order dictates in this particular moment. But I would just like to take this opportunity to talk to the colleagues on my side. That as far as I'm concerned, in my personal opinion, this is a rash decision. Can I finish?
Can the senator be
Can I
heard
be
in
protected,
silence?
Speaker?
Honorable senators, we spent time yesterday reminding ourselves about the standing orders. And we agreed going forward, we're going to walk the straight and narrow. If you're not going to respect the standing orders, I'm afraid I'd rather preside over an empty chamber, but not preside on a market. May the senator be heard in silence. Senator Sifuna, Senator Haji is on a point of order.
The same point of order.
Senator Sifuna is the chair to be concerned about his point of order. It is not your concern. It is the chair to wonder what the point of order is. I'm the presiding officer here. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your protection. Mr. Speaker, I stated earlier that I think, and I said very clearly, I'm talking to my colleagues, and I think this is a rash decision because the way it is portrayed out there and what you're getting from the media is what you're basing your decision on. And as colleagues in the same coalition, I would feel that yourselves as leaders, if you got the wind that there's a problem on the side of Jubilee, that the best thing is to reach out to Jubilee and find out why are the members of Jubilee disgruntled about being in the Azimio coalition. But what you've simply done is to jump into conclusion, get time to punish individual members. Mr. Speaker, sir, just a few months ago, we had an issue, a similar issue in this House. And it is the very same Secretary General of DM, Senator Sifuna, who kept reminding me, says we are leaders and we should not take direction from the principles. Yet now, it seems like the very same members are taking direction from people outside of this House to make decisions and to chart the way for the members of the coalition. It seems like certain members are itching for certain positions of leadership in this House. The right thing was to wait and see if the threat made by a certain member of the Jubilee to exit the coalition, wait for that time and then make your move on the individuals or the positions that you want to take. At this moment, I would urge the minority leader and the deputy whip, this is not the time to go against your colleagues in the leadership without getting the substance of the problem that we are having in the coalition. And just to mention, Mr. Speaker, immediately members of Jubilee went to the State House, and I think the Honorable Senator of Isiolo addressed to this matter yesterday. There is really nothing wrong with members of Jubilee going to State House, but they did. They went. instead of the leadership of Azimio to call members of Jubilee and ask them of their discussions at State House, they opted to go out in public rallies to insult members of Jubilee, calling them political prostitutes. And these are leaders. If members of parliament cannot interact with the head of state because of their political affiliation, then it would be only fair that also the governors of the same political affiliation not to interact with the head of state. If this punishment is being laid out on Jubilee because they have met with the head of state, why is it okay for some leaders to meet with the head of state and others not to? As far as exiting Azimio, I have mentioned it here. It is not a decision that has been reached to the very end. And I would urge the leadership to hold their horses, and for those who are itching for these positions to also wait, because the positions will still be there for the taking. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
What is your point of order, Senator Kathuri Murungi?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to get to the details of the reasons why there are some movements of the leadership in the minority side. But, Mr. Speaker, I've been struggling to read this Standing Order 23 all the way to 6B. But there is nowhere, Mr. Speaker, that the Speaker is given time to respond to the request by the minority leader. So I find it a bit strange that the minority leader can come in the floor of this House, Mr. Speaker, to demand, and furiously so that you should give a response to him immediately after he has served with the letter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, your office is an honorable office. And if, Mr. Speaker, we will not respect it, I think we are moving to the wrong direction. So I will kindly request Honorable Minority Leader to hold your horses and give the office of the Speaker time. And now I'm speaking as a senator of Meru County, not as a deputy speaker. So that we can have respect in this House, Mr. Speaker, we must be given time even to understand the reasons, because the Mbaka at the end of the day will stop at you, Honorable Speaker. And also, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Minority Leader, you are out of order to come and reprimand the Speaker to give you an answer on the floor. Therefore, I think kindly apologize to the Speaker, give him time to respond to your request. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday you rightly said, and we supported, I'm rising on point standing order number 23. You rightly pointed out that you are strictly going to conduct the business of this House using the standing order. I implore you, Mr. Speaker, sir, to strictly adhere to that directive, because the matter before you is defined in standing order number 23. 23, entire 23, and specifically 23.6, that says upon a decision being made by the minority party under this standing order, the decision of the party shall be communicated to the Speaker in writing, together with the minutes of the meeting at which the decision was made. Mr. Speaker, I think we are going contrary to the standing orders by allowing debate on this matter. It is simply a communication to you, and you verify the documentation and the particulars that have been given to you, and communicate to the House. It is out of order for senators to debate this matter. That the standing orders is very clearly just requires a communication. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, don't be invited to be a judge on a matter that involves a political party. We have had rulings. When I was in the National Assembly, this matter came up, we had a ruling. In the last Senate, this matter came up with a ruling. And the Speaker clearly pronounced himself that he is not a judge in a matter of a political party. You simply communicate the communication that has been made to you by the respective party. So, Mr. Speaker, based on your pronouncement yesterday, we would want to urge you to strictly adhere to the provisions of the standing order. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, if you look at your order paper, it is fairly long today. And therefore, we should not entertain unnecessary points of order. When the leader of minority stood to raise a point of order, I followed very keenly to pick what the point of order was all about. And when I couldn't trace the point of order, I asked him, what is the point of order? Still, I couldn't pick the point of order. Indeed, I received a communication yesterday evening from the office of the minority leader indicating changes in the office of the minority whip. It was received beyond 5 p.m. That communication is being processed in the usual manner that every business of this House is processed. I take it disorderly from the minority leader to stand on the floor of this House to basically and indeed frog march the chair by demanding that the chair makes a communication now and now. That communication is being processed in the usual manner, and that communication is going to be made as per the standing orders. There shall be no inordinate delay in that matter. However, having listened to the many points of orders that have been made, while making that communication, I'll be making a ruling on this matter. If the others points of order had not been risen, it would be a straightforward matter, because I'll just abide by the communication from the minority leader. But having listened to senators rise on point of order, it will only be fair that I also address myself to those points of order that have been raised. And therefore, as I communicate on that letter by the minority leader, I will be making a ruling on the many points of orders that you have made, so that we can rest this matter and move forward. I thank you.
Order number 6, notice of motion.
What is the point of order, minority leader, Stewart Mazzai?
Mr. Speaker, as I stated, and I know you have made a ruling on this matter, on what has been stated here as in a form of a debate. with regards to the letter that I've written to you. But Mr. Speaker, I only want to pray and hope that we stick to the standing orders of the House, because as it is, or as you have refused to, or as you have declined to give your ruling, your ruling today, and I don't know whether this matter really requires an implementation or a ruling. Mr. Speaker, I would urge that, you see, as you can see on the minority side, I'm all alone because I've already submitted the letter. I don't understand when I'm being interrupted when I'm still on my feet, as the standing order provides,
Honorable,
that if I'm on a standing
minority
order,
leader,
then I should not be interrupted.
Kindly take a seat. Kindly. Honorable Senators, please take time to read your standing orders. Please. If you do that, we're going to have minimal interactions. I mean, minimal interjections as we prosecute business before this House. When the chair makes a ruling, you don't revisit that matter. It's here. I allowed the minority leader to stand on a point of order, hoping that he's going to pick on a different matter that I've not ruled on. I've already ruled on that matter. If you're to rise on a point of order, it must be on a very different subject, not on that particular matter. That matter rests until the chair gives its ruling. Thank you. Next order. Senator Haji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On a different matter, Mr. Speaker, I know you have ruled on the previous matter. I would just like also to inform the House that Jubilee, as a party, has equally written a letter regarding this matter. So, Mr. Speaker, I would also ask your good office to make a ruling, having looked at both letters from the coalition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Haji. Honorable Senators, maybe I switch to Kiswahili. That way we may make progress. Waheshimiwa Senators, maseneta wa bunge la Seneti, nataka niwasihi, tafadhalini tusome kanuni zinazoendesha ratiba ya bunge la Senate. Tukifanya hivyo, shughuli yetu ya bunge itakuwa rahisi sana. Bunge hili lina sheria zake. Hata tupitie shida aina gani, shida ile ina sheria zake ambayo imewekwa hapa wazi. Nimewasikiliza wale ambao wameinuka kwa hoja za nidhamu. Baada ya kuwasikiliza, nikasema kwamba nitatoa uamuzi wangu. Na nikasema kwamba ikiwa una jambo ambalo linagusia lile swala ambalo tayari tumelizungumzia katika hoja zenu za nidhamu, hakuna haja kuinuka na kulizungumzia tena. Senator Haji, unayozungumza ni yale yale ambayo tumeyazungumza. Kwa hivyo umekiuka nidhamu. Tafadhalini, mambo ya barua iliyoandikwa ni kiongozi walio wachache nimezungumzia hapa. Mambo ya barua ambayo imeandikwa, ile ambayo Seneta Haja amezungumzia, pia iko mezani mwangu. Wakati natoa uamuzi, hayo yote tutaweka bayana, na nikasema kwamba hatutachelewa. Ni kweli kwamba upande wa walio wachache wanasema kwamba wanahamu kwamba jambo hili tulitatue twende mbele. Mimi nataka niwapatie hakikisho wale walio upande wa walio wachache kwamba hakutakuwa kamwe kuchukua wakati ili kutatua jambo hili. Uamuzi wangu utakuja kwa haraka na sidhani kwamba tutachelewesha haki yenu. Kwa hivyo tafadhalini, hii mada ambayo tumezungumzia tuiache pale na mpatie fursa ili nilete uamuzi, na uamuzi wangu sitauchelewesha. Asanteni. The Chair of JLAC, kindly proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay before the House the following paper. Today, 15th of February 2023. This, Mr. Speaker, is the report of Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on the consideration of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2022. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Senator Ledama.
Mheshimiwa Spika, ndazungumza kwa Kiswahili, ndajaribu pia mimi kunena na Kiswahili. Mimi nasimama katika kanuni za bunge ya kwanza ambaye nasema ya kwamba jambo ambalo halijaweza kuzingatiwa katika kanuni hili, Mheshimiwa Spika anaweza tupatia mwenendo wa kufuatilia. Sijui kama nimeharibu Kiswahili ama nimeongea vizuri. Yangu ni kwamba tukitazama hizi kanuni za sheria, ili ndio tuweze kuketi hapa vizuri, ningekusihi kwa heshima kubwa uweze kutupa tarehe ile ambaye utaweza, kwa sababu umesema kweli, umezungumzia, umesema utatupa tarehe na ni kwa sababu ya jambo moja. Mheshimiwa, nipe nafasi sekundi 20 peke yake.
Senator Ledama, tafadhali rejea kwa kiti chako na ukae utulie. Next order, please. Senator Sifuna.
Mheshimiwa Spika, najua kwamba niko kwenye